Hey, good evening, everybody. This is DJ Modi from What to Say Radio. Appreciate y'all always tuning in, locking it in with me. And in this video, we are going to take a listen at some audio from if you remember, from June of about 2023, the Ocean Gate submersible um, uh, Titan that went down to see the Titanic. It was a five-member crew that was headed down there to see the remains or what's left of the Titanic at the bottom of the ocean. And as they went down, the submersible imploded, or should I say exploded underwater. Anyway, if y'all remember, there was like a two or 3 day search before they finally called it off and finally determined that the uh, the Titan had actually imploded underwater. So here is some audio, and this is going to be my first time listening to it as well. So, just beware. All right, so let's take a listen at this.
Welcome back in here to Live Now from Box. I'm Andy Mack. After nearly 2 years since the tragedy of the Ocean Gate Titan submersible, we're hearing for the first time audio of the NOAA acoustic recorder in the ocean. It's a 20-second clip of the moment of that catastrophic implosion. Of course, it is a little bit difficult to hear as this recorder was some 900 miles away, but let's listen in to the latest developments here. Faint, but you can also definitely hear what's going on there. And of course, on the tragedy of this Titan shipwreck, the Titan imploded on June 18th, 2023. The five-passenger board were all confirmed deceased following the discovery of the wreckage. All right, let's bring into the conversation right now TMZ executive producer Michael Babcock for more on this. And of course, it's a little bit difficult to hear, but you can imagine as they were so far down in the water. What is your big takeaway from what you're hearing, and maybe why did it take so long for this to come out?
Hey, Andy, thanks for having me. I mean, it's hard. I've listened to it so many times, and it's a 23-second clip. It was released by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and they've got these very powerful and obviously very sensitive microphones in different places in the ocean. And this particular mic was about 900 miles away. So what you're hearing obviously is a bit delayed just because of how long it takes, obviously, for the sound to travel to these microphones. But it's I think you would describe it as a static-like noise, a static-like sound that ultimately culminates with this building rumble, and then all of a sudden it's silent, and it would seem to be perhaps the start of carbon fiber cracking of the vehicle starting, to fail and then ultimately just gone. And obviously then when it does finally implode, it's something that happens incredibly quickly with incredible amount of force. So I don't know exactly what the takeaway is. I just know that it's an incredibly eerie thing to listen to when you consider that that's the moment where five people who thought they were going to see the Titanic lost their lives.
Yeah, like you said, eerie. It's a terrifying moment to think as they were maybe aware that this was potentially going to happen. So it's a scary thought. And of course, we were taking us back to June of 2023. We're all watching and waiting, hoping that this would not be the case. The search went on for 4 days before they called it the catastrophic implosion. And you hear the sound.
Wow, see that? It was actually 4 days. If my memory served me right, I was thinking about 3 days. But yeah, it did go on for 4 days, and after that, it was determined. This sound, they actually heard this sound actually on the first day. So um, I didn't hear much. I don't know if y'all were able to catch much on that, but I didn't hear too much. I get it's a 20-second clip or 24-second clip, but from 900 miles away, like that's kind of far. So hopefully they play it again here within this video.
And you wonder, why didn't we hear this then when we knew it could have happened?
Right. I think that's something that a lot of people were saying at the time, Andy. I know a lot of people feared that they were somehow trapped, that they had fallen to the bottom of the ocean and they only had a limited amount of oxygen and they
Right. That was my question. They said they heard a sound when they first went down, but we were hanging on for 2, 3, 4 days, hoping that they would be alive still. As it was said, they had what I think 96 hours. Matter of fact, if I remember right, they did say they had 96 hours of oxygen down there to survive. But then on the fourth day, they came back and were like. We think the Titan it exploded or imploded on the first day. So it's kind of weird.
there was a real rush to find these people and rescue them. And I understand that. But then when you listen to experts talk, you could really hear that, hey, the likelihood that they're on the ocean floor somewhere is seemingly very minuscule, and that this was likely a catastrophic failure that was not survivable. And right, I mean, if this audio is available now, the Coast Guard, sure, they released it today, but why did we not hear about this back then, and why did we not save what were, one, the family thinking that there was a chance that they could be found, and two, the enormous amount of resources and money and time that were spent on trying to find something that was never a survivable incident. So I think that's a great question, and I think that's one that hopefully they will have to answer at some point. I don't think giving people hope when there is no real hope that they could be found, that's not an acceptable reason to hold the search like they did.
Yeah, to go on for that long on this fateful journey with this
Yeah.
operation that clearly had some faults in it. And of course,
Yeah.
people and the families of one of the people that died in this one has filed a lawsuit recently. A French explorer traveled to see the Titanic wreckage dozens of times, filed a lawsuit. Do you have any update on potentially that? And you think this could change some things in terms of that lawsuit?
Yeah. I mean, the point that they've made in that lawsuit too, Andy, is that before this incident, before the accident happened, that there's a good likelihood that they could actually inside the sub heard it failing and the creaking and the noises of the submersible before it imploded, and just the sheer amount of fear that they must have felt. So I don't think that this can hurt them in any way. I think it's a 23-second clip. I think it does go to show that there was an indication that it was failing before, and just the sheer fear that they must have felt. It wasn't just something that happened and nobody knew. So I don't see how it hurts the lawsuit. I think it can only help. It is still ongoing. There's no, as far as we know, there haven't been any settlement talks or anything like that happening. Although I wouldn't be surprised if it never actually does wind up in court. But you've got 5 families that lost family members, and they want someone to pay, frankly.
Yeah, the family members certainly going through all of this trauma, but like you mentioned, the mental anguish of those people on board that
Yeah.
knew potentially for seconds, for dozens of seconds, for almost a minute, that must be very difficult to kind of understand and comprehend. And as we listen to this audio being released by NOAA, it's also very difficult to listen to, even though it's hard to decipher exactly what's going on. Michael Babcock, appreciate your time. Thanks again for joining us here on Live Now.
Thanks, Andy. I appreciate you having me.
All right, thanks so much. All right, let's continue on here.
So there it is. Again, I really couldn't make much out of that 24-second clip as far as hearing any sound or anything like that. As far as the families that are, going to do lawsuits, we'll have to see how that goes. I am pretty sure that all 5 members, well, I'd say 4 members because one was the owner of the Ocean Gate. If yeah, it was the owner of Ocean Gate that went down as well. Um, I'm pretty sure they had liability or some type of disclaimer, in case anything happened, with them going down, that Ocean Gate wouldn't be held responsible. I'm pretty sure that Ocean Gate probably covered themselves, hopefully, with some type of coverage or what have you. But then on the other hand, I would like to see the families get compensated, or it's not going to bring their loved one back in any type of way, shape, or form, but you know, um, maybe to give them some type of closure. Again, that was kind of crazy for them to be misled for 3, 4 days, and the family to have hope that their loved ones could be brought back up from the ocean depths, and uh, when it was pretty much evident, based off of what somebody had reported that they heard a sound on that first day. So, maybe they need to be compensated for something like that for, emotional damage, mental stress, etc. So, um, let me know what your thoughts are on this story. Again, it's 2 years later. They're coming out with this audio from 900 miles away. Uh, Maybe they shouldn't even maybe it was best the Coast Guard didn't even release this audio. Like it kind of stirs up memories of the whole situation. So, anyways, let me know what your thoughts are on this audio recording. What you think about the families that are suing uh, over the situation. My final thought on this is the Titanic is the Titanic. It's at the bottom of the ocean. And so we don't need to be taking trips down there to see the Titanic and what's down there. All right. Just leave the Titanic alone. That's my opinion on it. I've heard somewhere where some people are considering going down there again. Um, leave the Titanic alone. That's just my thoughts, my opinions on it. Let me know yours. Again, appreciate y'all tuning in. Like, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch y'all in the next one. DJ Modi, I'm out. What you say?